Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back, and as always, huge massive thank you for the support. I really do appreciate it. So again, I'm coming back with this In Full Bloom Floral Delights set, and today I've got the pansies and the bluebells. So you do get two of everything in the ultimate kit. So you've got two pieces of cardstock. The decoupage will fit over the top of this. Again, it will fit over there, and then you've got the decoupage with the butterfly for the bluebells, and then you've got your beautiful pansies with the sort of buds in the background there, and then you get two each of the inserts, which are not white, they're sort of coloured, which is nice to see and does make them more usable as a background as well as an insert in its own right. Okay, and also don't forget you've got a large piece of card on the edge here, so you could easily cut that off and have that as a nice border as well, which is, you know, sort of picking up on these tones from the cardstock underneath. Okay, so let's just pop that to the side. And I thought for my first card I'm going to do a sort of cutaway card with the sort of flap at the front. So let's bring in a piece of cardstock. It was 12 by 6, but I've just cut it down. And what I'm going to do is just take 1.5 inches off each side. So I'm just going to cut up to that 6-inch mark. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. Again, 1.5. This time we'll be able to go down from the top, and then if I pop that in, I should be able to cut those pieces off quite nice and neatly. So just going up to the 1.5, and if I have to just trim any little bits, I will. There we go, so that's okay. So I'm going to put those bits in the bit box. You never know when you're going to need it. So it kind of looks a bit like an elephant to me at the moment. You've got this sort of trunk and the ears. Boxy one, but still. Okay, and I'm just going to give that a burnish down so it sits nicely. Right, so we're going to need to decorate the back and the front of this. So some gold mirror card for the back. I'm going to take 2 notches off 2 sides, just to give me that narrow white border that I do like. Okay, and then this piece in the middle should be 3 by 6. So again, I'm just going to take a gold mirror mat, and I'm going to just cut that down, so 2 notches under the 3 and 2 notches under the 6. Now for the back I'm going to use the insert, so I will use the guillotine to cut that because it cuts the paper better than this trimmer does. Now I just have to decide which one I want to use. I'm going to go with the pansy because that was my first thought. So let's just bring that in, and I'm going to take that to 2 3/4, and then 5 3/4. I'm going to keep the top detail. Obviously this is a nice size piece for foiling on or such like. And don't think you have to keep this plain either. You could always go with an embossing folder or a mask to do some sort of pattern making on it, just to make it a little bit more interesting. So let's bring in the guillotine, and let me grab that insert. And I'm just going to take the plain side. So I'm just going to have that sort of lilac-y, light lavendery colour coming through. So that's 5 3/4 squares. So you can see it just picks up that sort of colour behind there. Plus the beauty of doing that is that it's still a normal card, can still be written behind, so we've got the best of both worlds there. Okay, so the glues I'm going to be using, in this one I've got my tacky glue, which is my sort of water-based PVA glue. In this one I've got my all-purpose glue, the Floral all-purpose, which is the same as the Hunkydory construction glue. It's an alcohol-based glue. Because I'm going to be using paper with the insert, I'm going to be using the Hunkydory permanent dots tape runner or tape pen. Okay, so because the gold card is card and we're going to cardstock, I can use my normal glues. So just going to use a little bit of all-purpose and then some tacky on those corners, just because I don't like the corners to come up, and also it does stick them down a little bit faster than the all-purpose glue. You do have a longer window time with that all-purpose glue. So now I have to work out which is the right side. Pretty sure it's that one. Yeah. So just going to give some dots instead of using the PVA glue, because that will make the card sort of bubble a little bit because of that water content. Fine with the alcohol one. Just going to pop some of this down. It just means I've got the best of both worlds. I can float that into position, and then when I'm happy I can give that a press down. I'll just go over it with my bone folder, just so it's nice and smooth if you want to write on it. But also those sticky dots would have stuck that down, so I know that's not going to be moving while I move on to my next piece. So now we're just working with cardstock. I can use my normal glues. And then that one's just going to go onto there. Okay. And that trick of lying the glue bottles down if they're not quite filled to the top is a fantastic one. I can't remember where I heard that, but it's a brilliant tip and it does work. Okay, so there is our card blank. As you can see, it's just a little hair there, so just put that back. Okay, let's grab some. I'm going to use the topper first of all. So we're going to use the topper on here. I'm not sure if I'm going to put it in the centre or whether I'm going to go to the sides. We'll have a look at these corners. I might use one or two of them. And then I'm going to go with happy birthday for the sentiment, and I'm going to need some of the decoupage. Like I said before, I'm trying to get 3 cards out of each one, which is more than I used to. I used to get 2 out of each one, but I just want to try and get that extra card out, just because they are going to charity. So it's better for me to be a bit more frugal, but you don't have to. If you want to layer this right up with all of these layers, which there's loads of them, then you know you can do that. So just snipping these pips. There we go. And it is that way up, so I'm thinking maybe popping that one there, that one there, just for a bit of detail. Maybe put that up. It's covering that detail that I cut specifically to keep in, but that sometimes happens. Or we could just pop that across the centre like so. Yeah, I think that's how we're going to go. So this piece I'm going to put down flat. So I'm just going to pop some all-purpose glue straight down the middle. I'm not going to go too far over, although this type of glue can be rubbed off if it is in the wrong place. Just have to be careful about your foils and your coated cards because it will take the finish off. There we go. And then this one I'm going to use, actually I'm going to use the glue dots. These, just get them stuck down nice and straight and move on to the next part. There we go. And again. And you could use your all-purpose or your tacky glue for this. It wouldn't make a difference because you're only gluing you're gluing onto the paper, so the paper's already glued to the background, so it wouldn't bubble anything up. Actually, that could do with just coming up a little bit. Are you going to let me move you? That's a bit better. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to look at the layers. So I do want to make 3 cards, like I said. So that one is definitely going somewhere else, and so is this one. Okay, so I'm just laying out which ones I'm going to pop on here. Obviously this is going to be the biggest card with the topper in terms of the topper itself. So we do want to put a nice amount on there, but I also want to make sure that there's plenty on there as well. So what I'm going to do is take that one there, and we'll go there. And then I'm going to take that one over there, and then these ones are coming over here. Okay, so that's how I've decided. And this again, you know, you've got a nice size there for a border. So for these pieces, I'm not going super high, I'm just going to use my 1mm foam pads, but I am going to make sure it is quite nicely supported. I want to just pop a little bit in there, I think I do, yep. Oops. I'll pass my little jar on onto the floor. Have you all been watching the sale? Have you all found something this time for this week? Christmas goodies, isn't it? So if you were looking to make Christmas cards, this week is the perfect week to buy. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that on. I've put a little bit of PVA glue on there just to give me that little bit of wiggle room time. That's already still moving. I think I do need it because I think that's a little low. I didn't want to pull too hard because I could see that was still moving behind. Like I say, that all-purpose glue does have quite a long window sometimes of in which to sort of play about and move things. So let's just cut a piece off here. Pop one in there. Just went over the edge on that one, so we'll pop that in there. That one there. This is quite big decoupage actually, this pansy one, so even if you've got your hands don't do quite as they're told, like mine, sometimes it's quite easy to use this one. You know, considering that's the smallest piece and that's as big as my fingernail, so maybe even slightly bigger. Okay, so then this piece is going to go on there. And then these pieces here. There we go. I'm going to use some tweezers on this one, so let's just put them where there's no glue. There we go. And this one I'm just going to bend around a little bit. And we've got this one here that should fit that perfectly. Yes, it does. I'm thinking while I'm doing this, I'm not sure what kind of gems I want to put on this, so we could go with fuchsia or we could go with the purple. And then lastly, let's cut this in half again, 1mm. Because this card is already quite chunky, even though we've only put 1mm on. Because we've got, how many layers have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4 layers, so that's already 4mm high. So it is possible I might need to put this in one of the Hunkydory little boxes. I might get away with my envelopes because they are a little bit oversized. Well, they're quite a bit oversized actually. Right, so that one's going there. So let's have a look and see what type of gems I want to use on there. I'm just escaping from my cardigan, it's just got a bit warm under the lights. So we've got those ones which are quite similar colour. We could go with the green, my favourite ones. And what else have we got? We've got blue, we've got brown, I've got grey. I think we'll go maybe with the green, and that's going to show up quite nicely against, yeah, I mean those ones would probably show up really well. I think they're a bit, are they saying that? There's not many. Right, I'm going to go with these purple ones, pearls, mainly because there aren't many colours that I can use these sort of really quite fuchsia ones with. So this one, this card is probably going to be it. So while I can use them on here, I'm going to. And I've left my knife in the other room because I was doing some dotty designs yesterday. And I needed it to cut the lines down. I'm going to go with that, and I think what I'm also going to do is just pop one little one down there, one little one down there. Like I said, quite easy to pick up with your nails if you've got a longish nail and when you're due to be cut again. So that is our first card, not a long one, but quite an easy one, nice and effective. When it's standing up, you know, it's away from that base and you've got the shadow behind, which is the attractive part of these cutaway cards. But I'm just going to get set up for card number 2. Okay, so for the second card I thought I would do a reverse easel. So I've got another piece of that 6x12 cardstock, and I'm just going to score, I'm just going to turn that around, score at 3 and at 6. So it's just the normal score lines as if you were doing a normal easel. And then I'm just going to fold that in half. Give that a burnish down in a second. But instead of folding into a mountain, you're going to fold it into a valley fold. Or as if you were doing a fold back card. Okay, so your card is going to look like that. Okay, so let's bring in my trimmer. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this piece of, it's a spare piece that I've cut away, Actually, I think what I did was I was cutting a card to size and I cut it across the fold line, which is a bit silly. But I'm just going to cut this at 3.5, and I think I'm going to go, so just looking at this piece here, yeah, I'm going to go at 5, so 3.5 by 5. Put that in. So that's going to be my panel that's going to come across here and be the reverse part of our easel. So now we need to make mats and layers for all of this. So for the back, again gold, and I'm going to take those 2 notches off 2 sides. You know, I'm very predictable in that. If you don't want to use the gold, if you've got any adorable scoreable, if you've got papers that you like, you could do that instead. And then I've got this piece that was left over from that last card. So this bit is going to be 3 by 6. So I'm just going to take 2 notches off the 3 and 2 notches off the 6. That will fit onto there quite nicely. And then I need to do a piece for here, but I'll do that in a second. Actually, no, let's do it in order and then it's easier. So I'm just going to get another piece. It was 3.5, so I'm going to take 2 notches off the 3.5. And then it was 5, so 2 notches off the 5. Again, those can go into my bit box, and that should fit quite nicely onto there like so. And that's going to give it that strength as well. Okay, so for the top piece, which we know is 3 by 6, so I'm going to go 2 3/4, and I'm going to go the whole way along this piece, and then I will cut that down to 5 3/4. So we've got a nice piece there, but that piece is going to fit onto there. I'll use the guillotine to cut an insert for the base, and then we want this piece here that we're going to build our image on. So we're going to go to 2 3/4, and I can see I would be cutting the flower off, so I'm just going to go past that, and 2 3/4, right, 3.5. It's 3.5, wasn't it? Yeah, so it needs to be 3 1/4. There we go, so I was nearly there. So we're just a little bit closer. Let's just take that piece there and 3 1/4. I think that will go there. We've got a little bit of space between both of those, and it's not completely even, but it's not terrible either. So then we're going 4 3/4, and that should fit onto there quite nicely. So that is our piece for there. Then we just need to cut this insert down with our guillotine. Just proving why you need all of the cutting machines once you get started, or once you get going. 5 3/4 and 5 3/4. Okay, the other thing I want to do, although we could, I did cut a piece off of that decoupage piece, but I think it looks like it's the wrong way that way round, so we'll go back to the actual topper sheet. Oops, everything's coming out when it shouldn't. And we've got a Scent with Love border there, or we've got this little tiny one, or we could go with the big one, which is Thinking of You Today, Tomorrow and Always. And then maybe we could have this one. So I'm going to swap around what I was going to do. So I was going to use the border as my stopper, but I think this is going to be wide enough to go on my topper. which was 3.5. So if I cut that down to 3.25, let me just take that to a nice sharp edge. 3.25. That should go quite nicely across the top there. Yeah. Okay, so we're mixing things up. Different to how I thought it was going to go, but it's fine. That's usually happens. Okay, so let's do some assembling. So I'm going to start with the base first of all. Actually, what I'm going to do is just give those another burnish down. There we go. So let's start with the base, and you can see I've just refilled up my glue while I was getting set up for card number 2. Because it's paper, we can use our tacky glue in that corner and pop that down nice and straight. And then this one, I'm going to have this flower in the corner, I think. So because it's paper, we're using our little dots and our, pick it up, our all-purpose glue. So that means that our card is still a normal card. You can still write on it, even though it'll have that little stopper on it. So you can give that a good press down. Again, I'm just going to use that to just make sure the glue is all flat. Nothing worse than trying to write on something bumpy. I can see a little bit of glue's popped out there, but I'm not going to wipe it because it will take the shine away. So it will have a little bit of colour there when it dries, but that little bit of colour is better than having the gold gone. Okay, so let's do this piece next. And these are both cardstocks to cardstock, so we can use our normal glues. And pop that onto there, just make sure it's all nicely lined up. Press down. There we go. And again, if you wanted to emboss this, it's a gorgeous Spellbinders embossing folder that I love, which is Classic Backdrop. It was one of the embossing folders of the month. I think it was March 24. This is one of my favourite folders. The other favourite folder that I have for embossing from Spellbinders is the Simon Hurley plaster one. Gorgeous. I just love that. Okay, let's set that to the side, and what we'll do is we will make this piece up. And then we can put our layers on, and that's going to give all of these pieces times to dry while we're just means it's going to stick better when we come to putting the thing together. And this again I'm putting on flat, and again we're cardstock to cardstock, so we can use our normal glues. And then this little piece, I think I'm going to go flat with it to make it look like it's just, you can use either of your glues. I'm just choosing to use my tacky there just because it's such a thin piece. Don't want that glue to splurge out. Just going to pop that in at the top. Sorry if you see my head come in there, trying to look over the top of it. Okay, so I'm just going to bring in the decoupage, so you can see I've already just popped some backs on, some foam pads on, 1mm again, and this fits exactly over the top of here, even though it's the printed sheet, which is the most fantastic thing. So let's just get that the right way around. And also now this printed sheet has gone from a printed sheet to one with a foiled design on, which is just elevates it even further. Just pop that into there, and then we can just pop that in. I think the hardest thing is just making sure you've got that in the right spot. But if you put a bit of liquid glue on them, you do get that little bit of wiggle room time. Oops, slide. There we go. And then this one is going to come in under here. Now I've done it flat. If you wanted to shape this a little bit, you can do, but I think you still get that beautiful decoupage look even if you don't. Right, so now that has set, what I'm going to do is just take a little piece of a red liner tape, just because it's the strongest one, and I'm going to pop that on the top. And this is just pretty much for security, for my, my peace of mind really. So let's just see where that's going to go. Excuse me, used it there. I'm thinking probably go over to the right a little bit, and then right, let's just figure that out. So it doesn't matter if that comes over that design a little bit. Or should we have it in the middle? I think it'd be nice if we could try and keep, but then that stopper can still go there. Okay, so we'll go like so. Okay, so I'm going to peel this off, and I'm going to use some all-purpose glue. Just going to put about an inch's worth on there. And then I'm going to pop this, actually we could go a little further. Let's just give it a little bit more. It will squidge around. So I am going to put this sort of by my eye in the middle. I think we'll go about there. So that red liner tape will hold that in position while that glue goes off. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's quite straight. Okay, and then for this piece here, I could have done this beforehand. I'm just going to use some of these 2mm foam pads. These are a fix-it, like the 1mm ones. I don't know why these ones come on a plastic backing where the other ones don't. They have like a waxed paper backing. But you do need something with a little bit of a loft, just so that your topper can nestle behind it. So just snip in. There we go. So just getting all of these little backs off. Tacky glue. Do still want a little bit of wiggle room because I do have a habit of not quite getting things straight. So let's go over to this left-hand side, and I'm sure I wanted it back there. Yeah. So I'm just going to pop that down to the right-hand side, just so you get to see more of this design. I'm sure that looks a little bit on the onk. Let me just grab up my ruler. Oh, it definitely is, Lexi. This is when you're grateful for that PVA glue. That's a bit better. Okay. So now that is going to nestle behind there, and that's how your card's going to look on the shelf. So now we just need some gems. So I'm not going to go with those pearls again. I'm going to use some of these dewdrops up. These they are clear, but you will see the glue behind them until they dry, and then once the glue dries, because this is a dries clear glue, they will be clear again. just be aware, if you don't use a dries clear glue, then obviously you're not going to get that effect. So I'm just going to pop 2 on this side. Sticks 2. I'm going to use 2. No, I don't think I am going to use 2 big ones. Maybe we'll just go with the medium one and a smaller one. Not sure why that's decided to move a little bit. Just gone off to the, it had just gone to the left, but it has moved back. I think as long as I don't stand it up, it should be fine. So I won't stand it up again, and I'm going to put those 2 big ones at the bottom here. Now if you've got the little book of sentiments, if you wanted to put mum, nan, granddad, grandma, whoever, you've got a space there for another sentiment. And I think what I'm going to do is pop, actually I'm going to go with another one of the big ones over there, which is going to give me my 5. Let me see, let's sort of get that clear behind it. And then I'm going to grab 2 smaller ones. I'm going to pop 1 on there and 1 on there. So these are great for making it look like, you know, morning dew sort of thing. Turn over so I can pick you up. There you go. There we go. So that is that one finished. Let me hold on to that to make sure that's in the right place. But then you can see that that now is looking quite nice. So that is our reverse easel. Just making sure that's in the right place. Yes. I'm going to bring in that first card we did. So those are the 2 from the Pretty Pansies. Obviously I've still got another one to make with this decoupage and that piece of card left over, and that's that bit chopped off. And what I'm thinking of is making one of those little stepper cards, not like the whole one, but the one with 1 step on the side. So that's what I'm thinking with that. So that's what you'll see. What I want to do as well is just, I always talk about putting embossing folders on and stuff and the difference it can make. So I'm just going to pop these 2 in. These are the ones that were on the other sheet from last time. This is actually Party Dots, which is the Spellbinders one. So that's with the, I think they're geraniums. And then this one is that lovely plaster that I love. Looks like a rendered sort of wall. It's lovely, and it's lovely. You know, you can do it in like chocolate colours. It looks like spread, cake spread. You know, it's icing. It could be like so many different things. But you know, that's that bit of interest that can bring to your cards. So those pictures, along with today's, will go up on Pinterest shortly. They'll probably be there before you see the video. They'll also go up on my Facebook page as well, and in some of the Facebook groups. I will, behind the scenes, continue to craft on, I think it was Bluebell was the other one, wasn't it? That Bluebell there. So I will get 3 cards out of that one as well. And they will also go up on Pinterest, maybe tomorrow, possibly the day after. But that's it for today. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed the videos. Hopefully you're enjoying seeing how I do split that decoupage up, just to be quite frugal with it and make the most out of it for my cards to charity. Like I say, if you wanted to just do a card like that and have it decoupaged to the max, you could do. My mum was, she loved to see all of the layers. So when she was here, I always had to make at least one with every layer on. But it does come out quite far. You know, you do need the inch deep box when you do put all the layers on, even if you're only using 1mm. foam pads, or even if you're not using foam pads and you're using the sort of glue gels and things, you know, it does get quite high when you put all the layers on. But thanks so much again for watching. Sorry, I know I've said that before, but I will see you next time. But until then, happy crafting. Bye.